Simon here. We're at the car park of White Horse Wood, which is at the top of Detling Hill on the A249 for our latest Simple Life Circle walk special. First came here approximately 15 years ago, and the thing that was interesting at the time was that the trees that are here were all really short. And I remember messaging a friend and saying, how tall do trees have to be before they make it a wood? And he thought I was having a laugh, but I wasn't. The trees were really small. As you can see now, we're 15 years later, the trees are much bigger. But this is where we're going to start today's walk, which is going to take in a bit of the North Downs Way, the Pilgrim's Way. We're going to go past Jade's Crossing. We're really looking forward to it. But when you park up, you take the path you can see behind me towards Turnham Castle.
Once you come out of the car park and you follow the trail, you get to this kissing gate. When you get to the kissing gate, keep following the track down, go across the road, because Turnham Castle is just over the other side of the road. Once you've had a look around Turnham Castle, continue down the road and look for the signpost for the North Downs Way, which should take you right. So we are now at Turnham Castle. Now Turnham Castle was built in the 12th century by a gentleman called Ralph de Corbepine. I apologise if I pronounced that wrong, I am not French, but he was a tenant of the brother of William the Conqueror. Now this place was abandoned in the 14th century and was declared Al Clen. But then again, I apologise if I pronounced that wrong, I am not French. But it's been damaged over the years by lots of chalk mines and has only recently been funded by the English Heritage Lottery Fund to keep this place in a condition where we can all come and see its historical value. We're here, we've just remembered that when we came here, this 15 years ago, so I would have been 6, we had a lovely golden Labrador, and we came in here, and at the time they had goats in it. She decided she was going to chase the goats, run around the whole area. We had a great time trying to catch her, but I still remember that quite vaguely from all those years ago.
A short way down the hill, you'll see the sign for the North Downs Way. Turn right and head for Detling.
Keep following the North Downs Way and go up the steps.
Oh, you come up that hill, it's quite knackering. I think it's safe to say when we walked the North Downs Way, we're happy we went down the hill.
Me too, I thought I was fairly fit. I'm knackered.
I think that's me and you both.
Onwards. As you walk along the North Downs Way and you're coming towards Detling, look south on the banks of the North Downs and you'll see a typical kind of heathland or scrubland area. It's full of dogwood that you can see right in front of me with the red stems. There are hazel catkins at this time of year everywhere. The trees either side of me are wayfaring trees, a kind of viburnum, and if you look to my right you'll see teasels.
Once you come out of the footpath, turn right, follow the road towards Detling. As the sign says, take the road to the right of the pub. Here we're using the bridge that goes over the A249. This bridge is called Jade's Crossing because a young girl called Jade and her grandma died there in 2000 crossing the road. The bridge was built after a 20-year campaign after 4 people had died. But you can see from the video here how loud the traffic is and how fast the traffic is moving. Now, whilst we were using Jade's Crossing, we actually saw 2 people crossing the road that got beeped at by cars because this bridge has been specifically put in there to stop people crossing the road. But clearly some people still don't quite understand that after 4 people dying.
As you leave Detling village, you'll see a North Downs Way sign directing you up the hill. Don't go up the hill. If you look straight on, there's actually a path at the bottom of the hill parallel with the road. Take that.
Once you've entered the woodland, you'll come to this fork. You want to take the lower left path. Avoid taking the right path. Once you've reached the end of the woodland area, you want to take the footpath up the hill through the larches. At the top of the hill, go left.
Now, what you can see here, these are bluebell bulbs. Now, we're a little bit early because we're here in start of March, but if you come here in April, you'll start to see this whole area just become a sea of bluebells. They all start to come out and they cover any woodland. They bring so much colour. Locally, we have a very large woodland which is filled with plants, bluebells, but the whole sea, it just erupts in colour and it is truly brilliant to see. So if you're ever anywhere near some woodland in April time, get out and see some bluebells.
When the path divides, go right at the steps.
So, we've just finished lunch. We're halfway up the hill before we join the North Downs Way proper once again. But this is a fantastic place to stop. Look at this fence. I love the metal posts and the metal rails, which means it will stand for ages. But the way that they put traditional fencing and attach that to it is superb. You don't want to fall down here because there is quite a drop. But as well as just standing here and taking in the view and the feeling, the hazel catkins and the planting, if you actually look to my right, there is a fantastic view. Once you get over the catkins, the buddleia, there's an oak tree. Just take a breath of that Kent countryside.
As the modern country fence goes back down the hill with that footpath, you want to continue up the hill and go to the peak.
So we're continuing up the hill and we've come into this quite large strand of yew trees, and it's got dark. They're kind of evergreen and the yew needles are there all the entire time, but it's kind of noticeably gloomy. It's funny, the yew is possibly one of the trees that's really shaped English history, and the reason for that is that they make longbows out of them, or they used to make longbows out of them back in the day, and that's because the heartwood has got a very different elasticity to the main bulk of a branch, so it makes a really good springing motion. Now the longbow was invented by the English and used to great effect at the battles of Agincourt and Crécy. In fact, it was the longbow that won both of those battles because of the distance. They could actually shoot arrows. They actually took out most of the French soldiers before they even got close enough to begin hand-to-hand battle. That's pretty awesome. But quite often, yew trees can last for many hundreds of years, sometimes even thousands. That's unreal. So next time you see a yew, stop, go up to it, say hello, say thank you, put your hand on its trunk and celebrate its magnificence, because without them our world would probably be very different. So when you reach the top of the hill, turn right to continue along the North Downs Way.
Now, once you've walked down the path, you'll get to this junction. Now, you want to avoid going right and following the North Downs Way. You're coming off it again and you're going left. I will tell you a little bit about the North Downs Way. Now, we did the North Downs Way. It was our second walk. We'd finished the West Highland Way a year before, and we thought we were going to walk it in the same way as we'd done the West Highland Way, which was the packs, and we were going to walk it in one big hit on day stretches. But what we discovered 3 days in is you cannot do that. It is not geared up and is not as popular as the West Highland Way, South Downs Way and Hadrian's Wall to walk it in such a way. What we did is we did 3 days and we found out it was way too hard. So what we ended up doing was calling it there, and we ended up doing the walk in day sections. So we would park the car at one end, get a taxi to the other and walk back to the car. Or we would park the car at one end and we would get a lift and be picked up at either end. But what we struggled with was that on the walk there was just nowhere to stop realistically. If you are going to walk this walk, you've got to be able to give yourself a mile or two at the end of each day, because you've got to get to the nearest town, the nearest village, or to just a place to stay, because it's very hard to get fresh water, food and get to anywhere to lodge for the night on this walk. It is a lot trickier, so we would recommend doing this as kind of Sunday walking and do it in stints. Once you come up the track, take the road and turn right.
When you reach the junction, take the right turn.
There are some areas which have been put in place on the edges of roads. This one's been put in by the Kent Wildlife Trust. It's just a small area when you come off the main road to come and sit down. But a lot of people have used it to just come along and have left their rubbish when there's a bin right by it. So if you are at these places, just take a couple of minutes, and if there's any litter lying around, just pick it up and put it in the bin. Once you get onto the A road, follow the footpath on the right, go down, and then you'll be crossing the road very shortly. Once you've come about 50 metres down the road, cross over and follow the footpath. Once you come across the stile, retrace your steps to the right and it will take you back up to the car park.
As you come back along the track, you'll pass this Kissing Gate. You can go through the Kissing Gate back into Whitehorse Country Park, or alternatively you can retrace the route we came out on and go back down the steps that you can possibly just about see behind me. So we're actually in Whitehorse Country Park now. and it's quite noticeable that there's lots of young trees here. There's silver birch, there's oak, there's buckthorn, there's hawthorn, to name a few. But what really stands out is just how quickly the clematis has actually grown over everything. And it's in terms of clematis, it's the one that we know and love as old man's beard, all those tufty fronds of seed heads. But what's really cool about it is that, unlike ivy, which will, if you like, cover things, almost strangle them, sap them of their life and their energy in some ways, the clematis is just a weight. It just climbs up and uses other trees to allow it to climb the heights. But it kind of looks beautiful. Love it.
Now, if you didn't know this is a man-made wood, you can see from behind me they've all been planted in a line. Within that line you've got maple, silver birch and acacia, amongst many others.
So, we're back at the car park, White Horse Country Park. It's an amazing place to actually sit and have a picnic. Or as in Scruffy's case, sit on the table. I'm sure you're supposed to do that really, but there you go. Anyway, we'll see you soon.
Never let you go.